What is up, my loves? It's your girl Diamond, and I'm back with my all new review of The Real Housewives of Atlanta. So, it is the aftermath of Kenya's event and her last time on the show. A lot of people were in their confessionals giving their opinions about what had been shown, and they all agreed this was disgusting, this was low, this was hurtful. And a part of me feels like this hasn't been the lowest that people have gone when it comes to how they like to retaliate on this show. I think it was the magnitude of how Kenya took it that led to it being the lowest of the low. So it is 48 hours later. We kick things off with Bristol, and she has not slept in 24 hours. She sounds so nasally and stuffed up, it's bothering the shit out of me. She's playing on the sympathy card, putting all of the blame on Kenya. How she's gotten a ton of emails, phone calls, messages from colleagues and friends about what's going on, how did this happen. And she said Kenya doesn't realize the damage that she's done. To be honest, Britt, this was all on you. Had you not been poking at Kenya to have wanted so much attention from her, and when you didn't get it, you threatened her with a whip and a pistol. So going on and on about how she wanted to apologize to Kenya. She bought flowers that she paid $250 for and a card. Girl, fuck you in them flowers. And how she planned to ruin my reputation. And she did all of this at her grand opening. Like, this was supposed to be for her and her business. And she did all of this in front of 200 people on the mic. My clients are calling me. I might lose my license over this. And you went as to have billboards of me naked? Like, who does that? I don't want Britt on my screen. I don't. And I'm still going, why would your clients be calling you? And how could you have been on the verge of losing your license over this? I'm confused there. And I doubt this was all it took to ruin her reputation. I really did. So she did admit that she said in her teenage years, she agreed for her boyfriend to film her giving him oral. And in her early 20s, she tried webcamming. Now, I'm stuck on this, right? Whenever I hear teenage years, when it was in my teenage years, I think of under 17, 16, 15 at the most when I think of the word teenage. But when you were in your early 20s, you tried webcamming. Me think that you were already in your early 20s when you tried webcamming and allowed for yourself to be filmed satisfying your boyfriend. But then I'm also wondering, how did you go as far as being in music videos in high school and also posing in slutty magazines? How did that go about? Was that in your teenage years as well, or were you in your early 20s around that time? So those are things that I'm kind of stuck on as far as like what's the real truth there, because she really put an emphasis on thinking that she was underage around that time, kind of playing on what people are thinking, that Kenya did that on purpose. Kenya released underage photos of her, but then it's kind of like, is that on Kenya or is that on what she decided to do at that time and what her mother was allowing for her to do at that time? Because I'm gonna get to the mom later. But these are things in her past that she regrets. But then I kind of have another question. You kind of had a humble upbringing. Your dad was a great businessman. So how did you get involved in this type of lifestyle? Anyway, she said that she had it scrubbed away from the internet. Well, it wasn't scrubbed away because folks were able to dig in and find it, because I was scrolling on TikTok and I was able to come across a video of Britt very early in age, looks like she was around 20 or 21, doing some behind the scenes interview saying she's about to film some sexy scenes, some sexy content. And in the description, it read Britt webcam girl. So it wasn't gone like you thought it was gone if folks were able to dig it up and find it. But I am not a heartless person. But when I tell you I didn't feel nothing for Britt in this moment, I did not feel anything. But I don't agree with women being shamed of what they've done in their past, because everybody has had a past that they might have done things that they will and might regret. So that aspect, alone, I don't agree with. And just seeing her break down like this and her husband who did not give a damn about Britt in this moment is very telling to me because he was so lackluster. He was lifeless. He was just blah. I'm like, does he really love you? Does he like you? I mean, the man had no facial expression about what took place. He did not comfort you in the way he should have comforted you. Even when you were breaking down, crying even more, he barely got up and hovered over you to give you some type of comfort. And it didn't even feel real. It just felt like, well, let me just be seen giving her some love because I'm not going to not hear the end of this because I'm going to keep on hearing this all day, every day. And I'm ready for this to be over. So Kelly comes over as a good friend that she is to give her some food. She paid for an IV treatment so her and Britt can have a comfortable day because she has not been out the house. And Kenya's name was spread all throughout this episode, which is supposed to, but Britt was really driving it home with mentioning Kenya in every way. And Kelly defended the fact that she did not get this type of vibe from Kenya. Like me and her had a great conversation, so I'm just confused as to why this happened. And Britt lives in a land of milk and cookies. Okay. She said, what do you mean? Like she has been coming to attack me. She's been always coming for me. And I'm just like, what are you talking about? When has she started to attack you? When has she been coming for you? Because I have not seen it. You have been coming for her ever since she did not acknowledge you in the way you wanted to be acknowledged. So to make it seem as if this was a premeditated plan and that she's always tried to come for me, she's always had it out for me, I don't see it. But Kelly wants to have a peace brunch so that way it could be a sign for everybody moving forward. And Britt wants to because she likes all the other girls. It's just Kenya she's not fooling with. Fine, fine, fine. But that was pretty much the end of that scene. And we're moving on. We got Shamia. Shamia invited all the ladies over so they can have a conversation about what happened at Kenya's event and just said this was a lot. Angela came in with her fan, and it's summertime in Atlanta. I'm pretty sure it's very, very hot. I ain't mad at Angela for always bringing a fan because girl, I get hot too. Um, but Kelly was going on about how the purpose of the event did not go the way that they were supposed to go. You know, it was supposed to be about celebrating you, how far you've accomplished. You're supposed to have women come in and feel beautiful and feel special, but use your moment to tear another woman down, blah, blah, blah. And Kelly was just going off on the difference between what Britt did and what Kenya did. Because she's giving the excuse that what Britt did was in the moment. Kenya had it already calculated and pre-planned for this to happen. And was going off about, I like Kenya though. But as far as what took place, I don't know if I will be able to forgive her for this. And I ask you this, Kelly. So what will Britt do in your friendship that will make it not so easily to forgive her? Because I feel like you'll probably give Kenya another chance later down the line than to give Britt another chance. But I understand in this moment you were trying to come up with a way to still defend Britt and hold Kenya accountable. And I think Portia was asked if she would have forgiven Kenya. She would have retaliated. She would not have let it go. But this is a friendship we've seen have gone back and forth throughout the years. But for Britt, who's just coming in brand new, not knowing Kenya, can't really say this is something I can forgive or not forgive. And it was very interesting for them to self reflect on how they treat each other and not turn each other down. And maybe we should look at how far we can go once we say things that can hurt the other person's feelings. And Shamia's mom came in with a couple of words of wisdom about how we got to be better. We got to treat people with respect, and we got to make sure we don't allow things to fester when we can nip it in the bud. So that's when Angela came in to correct Portia about what was she trying to say about her husband, Charles. And Portia just said, you know what? That was a bad joke. Okay. Because I realized that you have not known me enough, known me long enough to know how can I get when I joke. So I should not have done that. Portia took the easy way out to not be held accountable, that she was trying to incite some issues between her and Angela. about what can be said about Charles, but I don't think that Portia is in any position to think that she can reveal anything about anybody else's husband when she doesn't even want to talk about the humpback she got over there that she married and is going through a divorce. And in the confessional, she want to chalk it up with, when you're in this group, people are going to investigate you. People are going to come out and say things about you that you got to be prepared for. I'm like, okay, Portia, sure. Drew comes in. She's late. She looks cute. And they ask her what's going on in her life. Drew says she is preparing for court. And it's kind of a weird feeling because while preparing for court, they're still living in the same house. And as it can look, it's operating as if they can still move forward like a family. We're still operating in a family sense. So Angela said, I can think that divorce can be tough. So she asked Portia, is she getting the same amount of support in her divorce? Ugh. Okay, so Portia, her delusion, wants to fantasize of how their wish was a way that her and Simon can still be a family and still communicate while going through their divorce. And I'm like, what? How? So Angela asked her, so what if he was to tell you one day he doesn't want this divorce? He wants to say, let's try again, let's work it out. Portia said, no, that won't happen because he disrespected my mother. So in her confessional, there was a bunch of articles flashing that Simon had accused Portia and her mother's boyfriend of coming up with a plan to have their home broken into. And Portia felt like that's something that I can't move on from. Once you bring my mom in this mess, then we ain't moving forward at all with nothing. I don't know. I'm not really understanding that because I feel like you've disrespected Dennis's mother countless of times, and that's your daughter's grandma. You called her out of her name. But I'm kind of mad though because I wanted Drew to have this moment to expound on what she got going on. And to me, what Drew got going on is way more interesting. And it's something that I can understand and sympathize with way more than Portia. Because now Portia wants to pull on some tears, pull on the sympathy card to add her daughter in the mix. Because now she wants to say Simon has discarded her child. Because she mentioned that Pilar came into the bed one day and asked her about Simon. And when she refers to Simon, she normally calls him Papa. I got angry because I'm like, Portia, you're not about to use your child to figure out a way to communicate with Simon because he doesn't want to talk to you, thinking that he's supposed to have some type of care to reach out to you for Pilar. What? And, she's trying to start crying, but I didn't see no tears. And of course, best friend running to her rescue to show her some comfort. I wish she did the same to you. And while watching everybody give her support and comfort, Drew did not move because Drew is in her confessional talking about, I can feel exactly what Portia's feeling in more ways than one. But for where we are right now in our friendship, I just don't see me being there for her. And it's unfortunate. And I'm like, Portia, that's all on you. That's your fault that you pushed a good friend away because you're mad that she's working with your baby daddy and you're mad that you can control who he can and cannot work with. And you're coming up with all these issues that are very minute, very tiny for no reason. And Portia just full of shit right here. Okay, because she's mentioning a time where she sent a text message to Simon about Pilar asking for him, and he never responded. He read the message, but he did not return a response. And I'm just like, what makes you think he'll be different for you in regards to him coming in and still being a part of your daughter's life when he wasn't even involved in your daughter's life like that? Like, did you not see the way he treated Fallon's children? And she was married to him for 5 years. Did he keep up a relationship with her kids after the divorce? No. He discarded her, he discarded them, and moved on to you. He does not care about your daughter. And I'm sorry, Portia, but for you to try to push your child in front of this man to believe that he's supposed to come in and be another father figure to her as if she doesn't have a daddy, that's wrong and irresponsible of you. And then she keeps on going on and on about how we're supposed to make sure it's about the kids. We got to make sure we're being united for the kids. What kids, Portia? You just have Pilar. What, you mean his kids? Do you have a relationship with his children? Do you reach out to his children? Does Pilar talk to his children? What are you talking about? You didn't even know this man. This man did not have that much of an impact in your daughter's life that she really misses him that much. Girl, you didn't even know him long enough to introduce him to Pilar. Like, what are you talking about? Portia, your delusion is all over the place, and I just cannot deal. Cannot. And then Portia constantly is going back and forth with going back of how these were one of the things she loved about Simon, that he made her feel safe. In what way did he make you feel safe, Portia? The man had you in a different line at the airport. He had you riding around in a stolen car. The man's not even a legal citizen. So what man did he show you? A con man is what he did. Okay, Portia. So I think this is when Kelly talked about planning a peace brunch for Britt, but then she wanted to make sure if there is peace between Portia and Drew. And Portia wants to say, I mean, it's all fine, it's all good. Me and her can move forward. I mean, when I speak to my child's father, me and him don't talk about Drew. You're lying. You did mention Drew the last time we talked to him, and you lied on Drew when you talked to him. And you're now using what Drew said at King's event about how we can't act like we don't know one another. We can't act like the other one doesn't exist. We need to coexist. We need to make sure we are present with one another. But she said, I'm going to be the bigger person. I don't want to keep on having an issue every time I see you. I can't tell, Portia, for the last few episodes, you've been creating an issue with Drew for no reason. And you've been running away from solving the problem with her. But you want to keep on having this type of issue to avoid you talking about Simon. Anyway, I'm done with that. Moving on. So we got Kelly and her oldest daughter, Chloe. They're having a little yoga workout, and she appreciates her daughter for being there for her because Chloe found Kelly crying on the bathroom floor one day, and she just took over and had a huge level of responsibility for being there for her sisters. And she's appreciated her daughter for that. But then Kelly receives a message that there's an article regarding her ex and how a whole bunch of article flashes about what's been going on, him being held in contempt, him closing down the business, taking money out of her account. She had to follow a restraining order, everything. So, of course, at that time, he was in jail because he threatened to unalive her, but he is now released. And he's putting out statements that he wants to be there for the children. And Kelly is like, since when? And Chloe says, well, I don't even know why he keep on saying 4 kids because he doesn't want me. He wants the other ones. He doesn't want me. He wants the other girls. He doesn't care about me. Which the way that she said it is like, oh, I know she's hurt by this. So Chloe is not her ex's. When she got involved with her ex-husband, her daughter was around maybe 2.5 or 3. And from the time that he was involved with Kelly, he raised Chloe like his own from the time she is 2 to 17. And then you don't want to carry a relationship with her now that you're divorcing her mom? Like, why would you go through all of that to treat a child like she's yours, be there through all her milestones as she gotten older, and then say, I don't want her no more. I want the other 3 that I created with Kelly? That's cold as hell. And Kelly does feel the guilt for allowing her daughter to see what took place in her relationship and how the relationship affected her as far as her ex. And, throughout everything that's going to occur in the divorce, she wants the relationship between her and Chloe to still be solid, to still be good, right up until either Kelly gets married again or Chloe gets married. And Chloe said, I don't think I ever want to get married because what if I end up like you? That was real. That was raw. That was honesty. And she shouldn't want to have the experience of what her mother went through. And Kelly wants her daughter to grow away from that mindset of not wanting to get married. But I think that she should have said, well, you don't have to worry about marriage right now. You should just focus on you going to college, you figuring out life for yourself, and that's it. Love will come when it comes. And maybe don't have the fear of marriage, but you should never have a fear of finding love. But right now is not the time for you to be thinking about that. And maybe in time, Chloe can appreciate the risk and the decision that her mom decided to make to be a happy woman and leave a situation that she should not have been in. And they're going to continue on with going to therapy, which is good. So I did appreciate this conversation between Kelly and her daughter. It was nice. Moving on from there, we got Drew. She has to pack up and go to a hotel for the next couple of days because this is per the agreement between her and Ralph that she has to leave the house the first, third, and fifth weekend to give Ralph all the time with the kids. I don't like this arrangement, and I don't think that her kids like it either because her daughter was avoiding getting her hair done, like dragging on the time to avoid getting her hair done because I don't think that she likes when her mother leaves. Even when Drew was counting down to get her daughter to come upstairs, she was playing. And it's like, girl, don't have me act out in front of these cameras now. So Drew said in her confessional, this is the arrangement, but I feel like we are just operating in our own way. So while she is having breakfast with her children, spending as much time as she can, Ralph surprises her by coming up the stairs. And he said, it's time. It is? Yeah, it's Daddy Day. And this was around Father's Day as well. So she said, yeah, I'm getting ready to go. But then she wanted to have a conversation with Ralph about passing over the exterminator bill to him because he was supposed to pay it. But then he reminded her, well, you were paying it. And she told him, yes, I was paying it. But then my attorney has advised me that it's not my job to pay it. It is now your job to pay it. And this is when Ralph wanted to have a back and forth about what Drew doesn't do, what Drew doesn't pay for, and create an issue on camera by saying, so why can't you pay it? You don't pay any bills. I pay all the bills. So you can pay this bill. And she's like, well, I don't have to pay it anymore. And this just removes something else off my plate. So then he wants to say, what do you have on your plate, Drew? What do you have going on? And this is also knowing that he wanted to create a moment on camera. She said, I'm not engaging. I am walking away because this is a petty argument that he didn't need to have a comeback with. But since Ralph wants to be seen on camera, that's why I think he did walk up the stairs earlier than he was supposed to be seen on camera. That pretty much rattled Drew. So that way she could not really understand and really respond the way she wanted to respond in this moment. And I can't stand Ralph. I can't stand his square ass head because he feels like this is typical Drew. Drew always does this. She has never paid for anything. I pay for everything. So what's wrong with her paying for the exterminator bill is $100. And it's interesting to me that this nigga in the confessional with a blazer suit, no shirt, silver chain, dressed like he is that nigga when he is not, in his wife's basement. That is not your home. That's your wife's basement. And she's like, I am so mad right now. Like, this is so annoying. And Allison was going with her. She said, what's up with that? Ralph came up. What do you mean he came up? He came up. He never comes up when you're about to leave. Exactly. So him coming up sooner was a surprise to me. And this is where it gets difficult trying to co-parent with him. I'm trying to talk to him about something. And he always looks for ways of tap dancing on my nerves and trigger me. But then she also recognized that going through therapy, she's recognized how she needs to not respond in certain conversations. Because Ralph strikes me as a type of person who likes to create petty moments and then make it seem as if it's Drew being the one that's difficult when it's him. And I ain't got time for this. I don't. And then, Ralph, I got to say this. That little checklist you put on Instagram to say what you've done in the 10 years and what Drew hasn't done. And also when it comes down to you not wanting to have one of those every other weekend that fathers get to have when going through a custody battle, you're kind of operating that in this moment. You get every other weekend with your children, but you think it's not going to be the same once you leave that house because Drew wants that house to be gone and sold. So that means that you're going to have to buy another place to live and you are going to have to find a way to come up with an agreement to co-parent, meaning you're going to have a set day or a set weekend or a set week to spend time with your kids, just like she will. Thinking that you're going to escape that part because you're living under the same roof is not going to work. It's not going to work. It's not going to last. But either way, like this is just bullshit to me. This is just annoying to me. And this is where a lot of people feel like this is not real between Drew and Ralph. But I feel like maybe there's a lot of things that Drew cannot express or reveal because she is going through a divorce. And knowing how Ralph likes to use things against Drew to go for his favor, there's probably a lot of ways she's not responding into what he wants to do, considering that they're already being watched by the judge with how they communicate throughout the house. So there it is right there. Removing herself from this gaslighter, manipulator, narcissist, okay? And this is where she can kind of go through that cycle of thinking that things are going to be good, but then things are going to go great. Hence why she's kind of going through that cycle of when things are going good, he does things and they have to start at square one. Deja vu all over again, but moving on from there. We got Shamia. She is in the studio working on her song with RL. You know RL from the group Next. And she is very good friends with him and his wife. So it was natural for her to talk to him about pursuing music. And he is a talented songwriter. He's written for Genuine, Jamie Foxx. The list goes on and on. But then she decides to throw unnecessary shade to Drew in the confessional by saying, this is what Drew should have done, gotten an RL to help produce her album. Well, Shamia, whatever Drew decided to do, it still led to her producing a great album. So Dennis did exactly what he was supposed to do to have Drew have a great album. So you keep on trying to throw out there that the way you're going about it is better than Drew. I don't like that. And Angela comes by to show her support. And she's like, girl, you very serious about this? This is RL, girl. So she even apologized for Portia, because Portia did not even acknowledge that this was your song. She was over talking, not hearing it to give you a compliment. So finding out that you are very serious about this, I'm very sorry that Portia did not show it for you like she should have done. And even Shamia admitted that, yeah, that did hurt me because she knows this about me. And the way that Shamia is expressing how it did hurt her feelings that Portia did not show up to support her, but then Shamia comes with an excuse as to maybe Portia did not know I was going to play my song because I did not tell her I was going to play my song at the dinner. It doesn't matter, Shamia. Whether or not you told her you were going to play it or not, once you did decide to play it, her response was being a hater and to say that wasn't you, that was Drew. Because she didn't know how you sounded. But how is that your best friend don't know how you sound? She should have been known how your voice is different than Drew's. Make it make sense for me. And why isn't she here with you at the studio? This should be a time for the best friend to show up and support you. But no, she ain't here. Angela is here. And then Drew was on her way. But then Shamia admits she's a people pleaser. And she needs to stop being a people pleaser. She prioritized everybody else's feelings because she wants them to leave better than how it makes her feel. But Angela was right by telling her, I can see how loyal you are to her. I just hope that she is showing the same loyalty to you. I hope that what you've done to her is being reciprocated. And it's not. So when Drew comes in and she didn't even hear the song all the way because when Portia was talking, she couldn't understand it. So the producers asked Shamia to sing a little diddly about the song. And of course, they kind of want to make it look as if Shamia is long-winded. She was singing the whole song. She couldn't even sing a few lines. Then at the end of her singing the song, she was like, I mean, it's no shade to Drew, but Drew can't hit those notes, right? Drew can't hit those notes. Shamia, this is so unnecessary. Stop comparing your vocal range to Drew. Obviously, you guys have different singing styles, like everybody else in the industry. Why are you continuously trying to create a beef between you and Drew? For what? It's not necessary. And why are you giving all of this grievance to Drew? I feel like you're projecting on coming at Drew when you don't want to tell it to Portia, because Portia is the one that made you feel this way, not Drew. Julie had nothing to say about the song being played. It was all Portia. So we go through Shamia's time frame of growing up. She's been singing since she was a child. She sung in the choir, and then she was in a all-girl group with Carrie Hilson. Y'all know Miss Carrie, baby. Oh, shout out to Carrie Hilson. I'm here. She got an album coming out. Oh, I'm so excited. And when you decided to put your talent out there and the first thing that your best friend decides to do is pretty much disrespect you, that can make you feel some type of way because you're sensitive about your shit. And Drew cannot even understand how Portia is moving because that's your best friend. And how could you not show up for your best friend and congratulate her on her talent? Make that make sense. And when you're talented and you want to show it, you expect people to be like, oh my God, girl, that's you. You sound so good. That's not what happened. So Shamia is giving kudos to RL and the other producer be flat on giving her the confidence of putting her all in the music, and it's going to go very, very well. Andrew is adding on to that by giving kudos to Dennis. Working with Dennis has been a great journey, and the way that he got royalties and publishing all set up is going to be a huge blessing. Who knows? This album might even pay for Pilar's whole college. And here goes Shamia coming in to defend Portia by saying, I had heard that her college tuition is already paid for. And Drew said, well, you know what? Maybe it will contribute to some snacks or something. You know what I'm saying? The money will be good for something. And then Shamia goes in her confessional to say, see, Drew, this is where you take it too far. I said, what? Shamia, what are you talking about? What was so wrong about what Drew said? It wasn't even that bad. You did not need to defend Portia in this moment. It wasn't even that deep. And all this shade you've been throwing to Drew this entire time, when in regards to how she should have planned better to get her music out there, that's unnecessary. But for her shading Portia or giving kudos to how Dennis is very professional in regards to setting up her album and how it's going to be a good thing and it's going to make sure that they all get paid, like make that make sense how that's a bad thing. Is Pilar's college tuition paid for though? Is it? Like, girl, don't do that. This is why you are called Portia's lapdog. And so why that photo that you and her took as a way to joke about it. No, you are literally Portia's mouthpiece and literally her lapdog, because you're always defending her when she doesn't need defending. I don't know if you want to still have this little shade battle with Drew over what Portia is feeling with Drew. Like, you don't need to take in Portia's feelings and speak on her behalf when you don't need to. Like, it really don't make no sense to me how you like to follow behind Portia and take on her feelings as yours, take on her issues as yours, and operate them when she don't do the same for you. Like, please stop. But I was trying to listen to Shamia's new song, but I couldn't understand it. It sounds like a very sultry, sexy song, so I might have to look it up later. But Shamia, you're doing too much right now. Anyway, moving on. So we got Bucky. She is continuing playing the victim about how everything's been done to her. Her mom came over and her mom was looking very much disinterested into talking about this conversation once again, just like her husband was. And when she told her mom about what happened, she said her mom sounded so supportive. What happened to the audio of Britt saying that, how am I going to have a conversation with mom about sucking dick? Remember that audio that happened on the trailer? Why wasn't that audio revealed? But considering that her mom did sound supportive, I want to know, was your mom as supportive with you dancing in music videos in high school? Did your mom sign the release forms of saying it's okay for you to be in these videos and posing for men in slutty magazines? Make it make sense for me. But anyway, my thing is, your mom probably is not even shocked about what took place. Your mom is probably already aware of what was going on in that time that you did what you did. But having a conversation to rehear it, your mom was like, let's just get it over with. So with talking to her, she's showing her mom the renovation in her office. She's putting all her problems on Kenya. Okay. And Britt's going off about how they have a lot going on. They're dealing with family drama. The mom said don't give them too much. What does that mean? Too much of what? What other family issues y'all got going on? Is it juicy that y'all can't show on camera? Because we can talk about that than this. So we also get an update that her other sister reached out to her and told her, I'm here for you. I got your back. And I'm just like, how long has it been since you and your sisters have been in the same place? Because since it's been so long, y'all spoken to one another, it took for them to reach out to you. Do you reach out to them? That doesn't have anything to do with a big problem. But moving on from there, I guess, because I feel like Britt's mindset on when she is operating in space with other women, she wants to be the one that they chase. She wants to be the one that people got to figure out how to fix things with her. She doesn't go out of her way to fix problems that she created with these people. And I kid you not, Britt was painting herself to be a victim this entire time. Because when she said that Kenya wanted to do this, she wanted this to happen. Girl, when you constantly poke the bear, yes, something's going to happen. You wanted an issue with somebody who didn't have an issue with you in the beginning. You created one. Then she is reflecting on the time when she was growing up, where she felt like a lot of girls never liked her. She never had a lot of female friends, and they would make up lies about me. They would talk so much shit. I was like, this is the problem for me. This is the problem for me. Britt eternalizes small things and presents them bigger later down the line because she is so self-absorbed. She is very selfish. She lacks self-awareness. She thinks that everybody is jealous of her. Everybody wants to be her. Girl, nobody wants to be you. And then you got the mom co-signing that by saying girls are going to hate. That's what they do. That's the issue right there. You're not recognizing that your daughter might say some shit to antagonize people. And when they come back at her, she wants to cry victim, be like, I don't know why everybody doesn't like me. I don't know why nobody wants to be my friend. That's some bullshit right there. Make that make sense. And the whole thing about you being called an escort, a video hoe, and you claim the claims that you did insurance fraud. I'm thinking that the insurance fraud claims were already out there, but you already admitted that you were in music videos when you were a teenager, and you did reveal you were the webcam girl. So as far as those two instances, those were things you agreed to do. As far as the insurance claims, there's no telling what was already brewing in your business before Kenya put out those Yelp reviews. So now Britt wants to operate in class instead of low class, not like Kenya. When she goes low, I'm going to go high. Oh, so where was the class when you were mentioning a pistol and a whip? It sounds like you're operating in low class on the verge of being ghetto. So you sure you know how to operate in class? Never mind. But moving on. We got Shamia. She invited Portia out to play golf. It was supposed to be just a fun day for the two of them. And Portia has been hiding for what she got going on with Simon. And she's just listening to her therapist, telling her to self-preservate so she can focus on her. And Shamia talking about it's been so long since I've had a nice hanging out with my girl. And I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. I am going to put my feelings to the side to show up for her because I know she has a lot going on. What does Portia have going on, Shamia? What? That's my issue with you. I don't give a damn how Portia is feeling. I don't give a damn what she got going on because she ain't telling nobody. And you need to open up with her and tell her how it made you feel. It hurt your feelings when she talked over your song, told you that it wasn't you, it was another person, and didn't even say how good it was. Make that make sense. Why do you give Portia all this support when she doesn't do it for you? And let's go down the list for what you have going on. You know what I'm saying? Like you still want to grow your family. You got a daughter who has medical issues. Your other daughter had her tonsils removed. Come on now, Shamia, you dealing with a lot too. We saw at the beginning of this season what you had going on. Why do you continue to think that your problems are not as important as Portia's? Why? So then they get into a little small talk. They make fun of Angela when it comes to her fan, and there's a joke going around that Angela is like Miss Netta off of TikTok because the way that she says Charles, Charles, the TikTok sensation Miss Netta, Charles, your lunch is ready. That's funny. And then we are discussing how is Portia feeling when it comes to Dennis and his interactions with Drew. Have you talked to him about that? Portia lying again by saying that when she did have a conversation with him, she was really joking about him not working with Drew, but then he told her, what if I did do it? And I did it for promo. And she said, I wouldn't like that as far as him agreeing to film with her. Then she said that Dennis told her he wouldn't film with her. And for what he told me, it hasn't happened. You lying again. Because he told you it was already an agreement of him filming together for promo, for marketing her album. And you wanted to threaten him while doing alley oops in the parking lot, saying if he doesn't figure it out and stop working with her, it's going to have repercussions on him spending time with his family. But it's really annoying to me the way that Portia is just going so hard on trying to control Dennis, trying to control who he talks to, trying to control who he's seen with because she wants to use him for her storyline. And I'm going to scream every time Portia mentions you got to do right by your family. What he's going to do with his family, what he will not do for his family is going to hurt him in the end. I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't like the way you're putting emphasis on what Dennis is doing far as working with Drew is going to hurt his family. This is about business. And then she said, I didn't like it. And I had the choice to say, I don't like it. But Dennis wanted me to say, I don't want you to do it. Girl, Do you really think Dennis gave a damn about your feelings in regards to him filming with Drew or working with her on camera? Like, Portia's mind is all over the place. We're trying to create an issue of something that hasn't happened because you keep saying you and him have a co-parent relationship, but you're making it seem as if I don't want that to be an issue that we're going to have to figure out if he is telling Drew about our problems or he's talking to him about Pilar. I don't want that to happen, but it hasn't happened. Why are you creating as if it's about to happen? You really think that Dennis wouldn't be professional and not talk about Pilar in front of Drew? Make that make sense. Either way, moving on. So while playing golf, Shamia's losing, Portia's winning. Portia asks her how are things going with Gerald, how's the IVF journey. She says that one of her embryos has about a 30% chance of implantation. So it's kind of like a very low chance of it working. And then Shamia throws it right back at Portia to talk about her embryos and what is she going to do with them. So has Simon given you a cease and desist on what to do or what not to do with that, which was a surprise for me. I was like, oh, that's T. You went through IVF to plan a baby with Simon? What? She said, well, we'll go over that once we get through this. What, go through the divorce and then have a discussion about what to do with your embryos? Because she said the thought about her and Simon wanting to expand their family, she chose not to deal with it, meaning not move forward with the embryos and not implant them and leave them frozen for what? Another time, another day, another chance? What? But you can tell once that was brought up, Portia had nothing else to say. She didn't want to talk about it no more. She didn't want to bring up anything else about it. While Shami is trying to have a conversation, she shut down. She avoided that conversation. But I want to understand this. How the hell we were willing to have a baby by this humpback? Make that make sense. And then she didn't really want to discuss the way he's been operating online, but talking about her. And then she says that if me and him have a sit down conversation, everything will be all good. Like he knows what happened between us, but he doesn't want to. Meaning, he doesn't want to have a conversation with Portia. He wants to run. He wants to run to the internet. He wants to go out there, have his moment on the internet. He doesn't want to fix this, Portia. You want him to fix it. He doesn't want to. So him running away for what he didn't want and you want him to want it back? No. No, that's why she's using Pilar to want to reach out to him so she can talk to him, so she can see if they can fix things. But he doesn't want to. He's not going for the plan. He's not going for the okie doke. He's not falling for it. He is not falling for the okie doke, okay? But that was very interesting to me, the way that Portia still is not being open and honest about what's going on with Simon. And it's just like, seriously? Okay. But moving on. Now we get to Kelly's peace brunch. She has lemons everywhere, getting a bit of lemon squeeze. She wants it to be a nice, peaceful environment so Britt can feel safe and welcome. And Portia called to say she doesn't think she'll come. She sounded like she was coming down with a cold. And she said her daughter has been sick for the past 2 days. And I don't know, was she really sick? Or did she use it as an excuse to not be around the girls or not be around Drew or not be around Britt? Like, what was the real issue? But either way, Kelly said, you know what, girl, take all the time you need. Take whatever minutes you need to take. Just don't take anybody else's man. Okay. I love you. Talk to you later. I love it. And I love the way that Kelly is joking about this because this is funny. It is hilarious to me. So Angela and Shamia arrives. Angela looks amazing. And Kelly lets him know what's been going on with her ex. So he was in jail for contempt, but now that he's out and he has not paid any child support, he owes 10 grand and he only made one payment. And it's very tough for her because she's been very private for the last 2.5 years and she's not holding back anymore. I really appreciate how Kelly can like jump in and out of being serious and then being playful and being nice and sweet. I kind of like that about her. So when Britt arrives, Britt claims that she has a guard up and she doesn't know what to expect with the other girls. And while they're all talking, they're sitting around eating. They mentioned to Britt so how everything's been going. She said, it's been a lot, but I'm dealing with it. And then Kelly said, well, I've been able to talk to you about how you've been feeling. Shamia has been talking to you as well. But the other ladies have reached out to Kenya and they have gotten her side, so maybe they need to hear your side as well. So Britt instantly feels away about how the other ladies, meaning Angela and Drew, have reached out and spoken to Kenya. So she was like, y'all been talking to Kenya? They're like, yeah, we did. So she's like, how are you guys talking to her? This is why I have this wall up. Like, why would y'all want to be reaching out to her? Why her? Why not me? But I'm thinking, like, why are you having such high expectations for Drew, who has known Kenya way longer than you, and Angela, who is probably getting to know Kenya a bit better than the way she came out getting to know you? So you can't be in your feelings that they're giving Kenya the space of hearing her side and not only hearing your side. So again, she's playing on the sympathy card about how she is dealing with a lot. Like, me and my husband have been trying to figure out the business and what's been going on. So Shamia points out that Britt told Shamia that she lost her insurance license. And Britt said, yeah, yeah. Angela said, based on what? So then Britt gets mouthy, she get disrespectful and was like, what do you mean? What do you mean based on what? What do you mean? So what do you mean? How you don't know why? So Angela is feeling all that energy. She's like, okay, girl, I don't know why you giving me this energy. All I did was ask you a question. So, for you and me, I am a licensed agent as well. And for you to have said you lost your license, there had to have been cause. So since Britt did not get what she assumed from everybody, that we were supposed to just go along with her blaming all of this on Kenya and how what Kenya did was wrong. But as far as you losing your license for your business, that got to be a different story. That cannot be all on Kenya. And Britt cut Angela off when she was about to say, this is the same energy you gave to Kenya at my bake dinner. But before she can even finish, Britt wanted to take over the conversation and was like, isn't this about me? Y'all supposed to be supporting me and comforting me. Meaning Britt did not expect for anyone to ask her any questions if something was confusing that she could have easily explained, but that's not what that was. And Angela's like, I mean, we supposed to be here for you, but you're not coming in peace. You giving me energy when I ask you a simple question. And Britt is disengaging. Like, I'll wait till you're finished. I'll wait. This is how Britt starts conversations that she cannot hold her own in, because when she doesn't get the response that she wants, she backs away and plays victim while the other person is pretty much giving her the ass whooping that she needs. She says, I'm not doing nothing. You just like coming after me. You're not being calm. I'm being calm. The whole innocent factor, that she is innocent, that she never starts nothing, she never says nothing wrong. It is clear as day. You like to start fights, you like to nitpick at things, and then when people give you energy you're not ready to receive, that's when you want to cry, run to your sisters to help fight your battles for you, because you'll know how to fight your own battles. And Angela said, you know what, Britt? I feel like you have failed to take responsibility as to how we got here. What do you mean? Kenya is the reason why. Yeah, but why isn't she here? We mean, why isn't she here? Why isn't she here? Like, this is the whole thing that Britt failed to realize. You thought that these ladies were going to already be on your side in regards to Kenya. I mean, yeah, they all told Kenya this was too far, this was too much, but they're not going to be boo boo the fucking fool and jump on a bandwagon and paint you out to be the victim, and that you need to be supported, you need to be woo wooed without you reaping the consequences. That's how we got here. Now, we're starting from the beginning, we're not starting from the middle, man. So going back and forth with Angela, Britt's all about read the room, read the room, read the motherfucking room. It's like, girl, who is you cussing at? Who is you snarling at, girl? You are way too hyped over a question in regards to you having to have lost your license. And I'm asking for clarity, ma'am. Got it? And Britt, I thought you were going to operate in class. This is low class of you. Cussing and fussing and snarling when someone asks you a very simple question. Make that make sense. Britt couldn't handle Angela, because Angela's not going to be swindled by your cuteness or your naive, bubbly ways. Girl, I'm going to ask you straight up. How did this happen? Because she said, are you slow? Are you slow? And said, girl, I'm not slow. But I'm recognizing that you're the type that to throw the rock and hide your hand. That's what I'm getting out of it. That's what I'm recognizing right now. So, Kelly's trying to have them calm down. Shamia's trying to have them calm down because it was going left way too quickly. And Angela had to move to another seat across from her. I wouldn't have moved. I would have sat my ass right next to Britt and kept going. She would have had to move. I would not have moved. Anyway, so Shamia calms things down by saying we're supposed to have a peaceful brunch. This is not peaceful. So I'll ask the question. So when she asks Britt, how did you come about losing your license? So Britt further explains that with what took place from all the backlash and the defamation, she is now under investigation, meaning that her license wasn't easily taken away. It doesn't work that way. So Angela said, yeah, I thought so. Britt thought she was scaring Angela into not repeating herself, but Angela said, oh, I thought so. She said, oh, okay, I'll wait. Well, I thought you were done talking. So Angela in her confessional says she is a licensed mortgage originator. So she knows that losing your license does not come so easily. It's not done based on a rumor. There has to have been an investigation or real reason as to why you're now on the verge of losing your license. Meaning that what was happening in your business was happening way before Kenya came out and put out these insurance fraud claims. And since Britt didn't like the way Angela can call her out for her lies that she was going to hold on to, she said, okay, do you want to leave? Do you want to twirl out? Oh, twirl out is wild, as Drew says. Oh, Kenya's words are in the building. Yeah, Britt's an obsessed fan. I'm telling you, because why would that be the first thing you want to mention? Did Britt feel like Angela was caping for Kenya in that moment? She could have been, because she's going to recognize that she's not the only one in the wrong here. You are too. So I feel like you thought Angela was going to respond to you, but it made you look even more obsessed and crazy for you even mentioning Kenya's words, Kenya's famous slang. And Drew was laughing because, like, girl, you are funny. And I don't know, Britt was being facetious or real. Like, girl, I'm so funny. I made you laugh. My comedian is like, whoo, girl, that is a lot right now. You're so interesting. And I think Drew even said, yeah, that is nasty work. But then Britt points out, no, what Kenya did is nasty work. And that's why she's not here. And I don't think that anybody is acknowledging that. It's more than just that, though, because they have told Kenya what she did was wrong. But I feel like since Kenya did not get the opportunity to express the reason why she did what she did and only gave Britt that opportunity, that's what's not fair. So Drew did say that what Kenya did take things too far. But I feel like if both you and her would come to some type of resolution and conversations, y'all can both agree y'all both were wrong. And maybe y'all can move forward. But Britt, like, but I've already tried. No, you didn't try enough. You made one lousy attempt to apologize to Kenya because your job was in jeopardy. And production told you apologize and appeared throughout the scene as being remorseful, as being apologetic, as being sincere. Okay, that's why. And as far as you feeling like once Kenya apologizes to me, I don't see how we can move forward. That's why she wasn't here. I'm not comfortable with her right now. Well, how you think she felt? I don't think Kenya was comfortable with you, what you said. But it sucks that we didn't get how uncomfortable Kenya got from her. We didn't get her explanation. So appreciate that the ladies did not add anything else to put on Kenya. They obviously all agree that what Kenya did was wrong, but they're not changing their minds about how Britt acted in the beginning. And Drew even saying, I mean, I can't say that your feelings are not valid. I respect your feelings. You have a right to feel how you feel. And I hope that things turn around for you and your business. Meaning, you can feel how you want to feel, girl. But I'm not going to ride your bandwagon and putting all this blame on my friend. And that's what I'm not going to do. And in the end, the ladies all did a dance shuffle to shake all the negativity, to end this on a good note. Drew and Angela did not get up at first. They were like, man, how are we going to deal with this? Because I don't think that Drew and Angela finds this fair, that Britt is still here. And the way she just reacted like this, they realized that Kenya should have had another opportunity to speak her piece. They feel like it's not fair for Kenya to not be here. They want Kenya to stay, and they're not going to go along with trying to paint Britt out to be a victim that she wants to be. But in the end, that was pretty much the episode, and I can't wait to see what next week is going to occur. Also, wait, before I leave out of here, Kenya just posted a confessional look for her upcoming YouTube video that she will be airing tonight, I believe, and I am so excited on what she's going to say. She better come with some real tea. I'm so excited for it right now. But y'all, that's pretty much it. That is it. That's all I have. Please stay tuned for my next video, and I'm see you guys later. Bye.